Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicholas Woolsey and thank you for joining me for yet another photography video. Today I'm coming to you not so much with technical advice as it is more of an encouragement advice. Okay, so today we're talking about three things that can take your photography game to the next level. I feel like all three of these things can be incredibly beneficial to you as a new or an intermediate photographer. Most of the stuff that I talk about on my channel, professionals already know. So if you are professional and you're watching this, thank you. If you're intermediate or beginner, I hope you get something from this. So let's dive right in. The first piece of advice that I feel, if implemented, could take you to another level in your photography is this. Number one, be more methodical. Slow down. When you go out and shoot, in today's day and age of digital photography, with these huge memory cards that store thousands of images, we often fall victim to this spray and pray method and mentality, where you can take 1,000, 2,000 shots and you'll probably get 100 good pictures in there. My advice is try to work opposite of that. Try to only take 10 photos of something, and from those 10, let 8 of them be really good, leaving the other 2 as the margin for error. Okay? So be more methodical. Slow down, do your calculations, adjust your exposure triangle, compose the image beautifully, and then take the shot. Obviously, in certain scenarios, like if you're shooting a wedding or if you're shooting high energy little kids portraits, this isn't always an option. Sometimes you have to be quick on the draw and you just have to fire away. But there are times when you can slow it down. I've found that with the couples that I shoot and the families that I shoot, when I take time to slow it down, get beautiful images of their family, they appreciate it so much more. And often, as a paid professional photographer, I'm actually given tips because I've taken time, slowed down, and methodically captured images. The second piece of advice that I have for you today is shoot differently. Occasionally, maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, no less than once a month, go out as a hobbyist and shoot something differently than what you're used to. So if you're into landscape, maybe have a friend model for you. It'll be very weird and awkward and uncomfortable for you. But this is why we need to do it, to work through these awkward feelings. Or if you're a portrait and family photographer, go out and shoot landscape. It'll be awkward, maybe boring. Your pictures are more than likely going to be terrible, but that's okay, because what we're doing is we're learning other avenues of photography. And you'll notice that once you work in these new avenues and you start to learn and adjust and make beautiful images from them, you can start incorporating these flavors, we'll call it, into your niche photography. So that's my second piece of advice. Shoot differently. Leave your comfort zone. My third piece of advice is probably the most controversial, and that is to limit yourself. These days, we have so much gear readily available. And if you're like me, you love to buy some new tech. You love buying new lenses, bigger memory cards, faster memory cards, better batteries, flashes, did we say lenses, and cameras and lenses, and lights and tripods and lenses, and microphones and lenses. But really, while this does help us, it can also hurt us. What I'm proposing is that occasionally, in your off time, go out and shoot. Maybe the time that you're going out to shoot differently, but limit yourself. Only take a battery that has half the juice left, or take a smaller memory card and only one camera and only one lens. And so what this will force you to do is it will force you to pull some sort of creativity from your soul and make an image. I do this for paid shoots and it has turned out really well for me. So if I have a small family shoot, I'll just go with one battery, maybe a 4 gigabyte memory card, one lens, and one camera. And I show up and they look at me like, where's all your gear at? But they don't know that I'm limiting myself purposefully for a very good reason. And it's this. When you have those parameters forced upon your mind, your gear, your body, when those parameters are very constricting, it really pushes you and forces your brain to think differently about how you're going to get shots. I found this works really well for me. And my couples that I shoot especially, and the families that I photograph, they love the different aspect because everyone brings a wide angle lens for a scenery shot. It's just what you do. And everyone uses a zoom lens to get that real shallow depth of field with a nice blurry bokeh background in their portrait shots. But when you move the other way, when you do things differently, your shots come out looking unique, different, not normal. And honestly, even though the customer cannot tell you technically what you did, they see it. They see the little subtle differences in your photos. So that's my third piece of advice, is to limit yourself. So to recap, be more methodical, slow down. Number 2, shoot differently. Leave your comfort zone. Number 3, limit yourself. A word of caution, I would recommend against limiting yourself in the beginning on paid shoots. If someone's paying you to take their photos and you've never limited yourself during a photo shoot, probably don't start that day. Do it in recreation shooting. And then once you've worked up the courage and learning how to think differently, then move into doing that during the paid shoots. And actually, as a bonus, I would like to give you a fourth piece of advice here, and that's just to push constantly. You know, don't get comfortable in always shooting the same thing all the time, the same way. Push constantly, whether that be in your gear setup, or whether that be in the actual shooting phase, or whether it be in your editing. Push constantly, because as we know with anything, if you just do the same thing the same way every day, especially as a creative and an artistic person, you're going to get bored. I've found that truly artistic people get bored easily with the same thing happening over and over. When it comes to being a creative, you have to push constantly evolve and change and adapt and rechange and shoot differently and be more methodical. We have to slow down, and sometimes we got to speed up, and sometimes we got to do things as normal, and sometimes we have to go totally different than what we normally do. So those are my 4 pieces of advice for you, the 3 plus that bonus there. Be more methodical, slow down, shoot differently, leave your comfort zone, limit yourself, and push constantly so that you don't get bored. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Once again, my name is Nicholas Woolsey. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video and if it gave you some insight or help, you know what to do. And then leave me a comment if you have any other pieces of advice, or if you have any more questions about this stuff. And I'll see you in the next one.